There's something about the 1960s that feels magical. Maybe it was the way the light hit the sidewalk on summer afternoons, or how kids could spend hours outside with nothing but a stick and their imagination. No screens, no Wi-Fi, just playtime that felt endless. Back then, toys weren't just things to keep us busy. They were keys to other worlds. Spaceships you could fly to Mars. Dollhouses where dreams came true. Action figures who saved the day before dinner. Today, we're looking at 10 toys from the 1960s that sparked imagination. The ones that lived under beds, sat proudly on shelves, and made Saturday mornings feel like adventures waiting to happen. So grab a seat, maybe dust off that old memory box, and let's take a trip back to when playtime meant anything was possible. The mighty Mattel Chatty Cathy. Chatty Cathy. She wasn't just a doll. She talked, and not just a few words. Pulled a string in her back, and she'd say 16 different phrases like, "Let's play school," or "I love you." Kids in the 60s had never seen anything like her. In 1960, when she first hit store shelves, parents lined up for hours just to bring one home. She wore pretty dresses, had real hair you could brush, and eyes that opened and closed. But it was her voice, that sweet, slightly squeaky little girl voice, that made her unforgettable. She was proof that toys could be alive. Not really, of course, but in a child's mind, absolutely. You could have tea parties where she joined the conversation, tell secrets she'd never tell. For a few years, every little girl wanted a friend who'd listen. But by the late 60s, newer dolls like Barbie began stealing the spotlight. Chatty Cathy's mechanism sometimes jammed, and kids started wanting fashion and fantasy over talking housewives. Still, she paved the way for every talking toy that followed. And if you listen closely, somewhere in a dusty attic, she might still whisper, "Will you play with me?" Hot Wheels, tiny cars, huge dreams. In 1968, a little red car called a custom Camaro rolled into toy stores and changed everything. It was small, sleek, and fast. So fast, it needed orange tracks with loops and jumps just to contain its energy. Hot Wheels weren't your daddy's toy cars. These were built for speed. With low-friction axles and shiny metal bodies, they'd zoom down ramps like rockets. Kids would build track cities on living room floors, complete with tunnels, jumps, and crash zones. Mattel designed them to look like real muscle cars, but cooler. Flames painted on the sides, wild colors, names like Twin Mill and Diora. They even came with collector cards, turning playtime into treasure hunting. Before Hot Wheels, toy cars were mostly just cars. After, they were legends. They didn't disappear. They're still around today. But the original 60s sets are now worth hundreds. Because once you've raced a flying Corvette through a flaming hoop, ordinary toys just don't cut it. Mr. Potato Head, the face that started it all. Imagine a toy that was just parts, ears, noses, shoes, mouths, all loose, plastic pieces you stuck into a real potato. Sounds strange? Well, that's exactly why kids love Mr. Potato Head. He debuted in the 1950s, but the 60s made him a star. By then, he came with his own plastic body, so you didn't need a real spud, though plenty of kids still use one. His face could be silly, scary, or downright goofy. It all depended on what you picked. Parents loved him because he taught creativity. Kids loved him because he never judged your bad haircut combo. He was also one of the first toys advertised on TV during children's shows. That was new. That was bold. That meant every kid saw him dancing across the screen and had to have him. Over time, Mr. Potato Head became more polished. Part of movies, part of families. But the magic of the 60s version? That was pure invention. A kitchen vegetable turned superhero. Now he's a classic. But back then, he was just dinner with personality. Etch-a-Sketch, the screen before screens. No batteries, no pixels, just a red frame, 2 knobs, and a mysterious gray powder inside. Turn one knob, line goes side to side. Turn the other, up and down. Together, you could draw anything. The Etch-a-Sketch arrived in 1960 from France, but America fell hard for it. It was clean, quiet, and endlessly forgiving Just shake it, and your masterpiece vanished like yesterday's homework. Kids spent hours trying to draw houses, dogs, even faces. Some got so good they could sketch President Kennedy from memory. Others just scribbled until the whole thing looked like a storm cloud. What made it special? It wasn't flashy. It didn't talk or light up, but it gave you control. Your hands, your ideas, your mistakes, then one shake and a fresh start. As electronic games crept in during the 70s, the Etch-a-Sketch slowed in popularity, but it never truly left, because sometimes the best art isn't permanent. Sometimes it's just fun to make and let go. G.I. Joe, not a doll, a man's best friend. Toys for boys in the early 60s were kind of boring. Trucks, trains, maybe a cowboy. Then in 1964, Hasbro changed the game with a 12-inch soldier named G.I. Joe. But here's the clever part. They didn't call him a doll. Oh no, they called him a movable action figure. Because in those days, dolls were for girls. This was different. This was adventure. You could dress him as a pilot, sailor, soldier, or spaceman. He had boots, gear, and even tiny dog tags. His arms and legs bent, so he could march, salute, or parachute from a tree. Boys imagined entire wars, secret missions, jungle rescues, all led by their brave Joe. Some even gave him names, ranks, and backstories. He wasn't just a toy. He was a hero you controlled. By the end of the decade, smaller figures began taking over, and G.I. Joe went into hibernation for a while. But his legacy lived on. Every action figure since owes him a salute. Spirograph, when art met math. Click, twist, watch the pen glide. Out comes a perfect spiral, a flower, a galaxy made of lines. That was Spirograph, the toy that made math feel like magic. Invented by a British engineer, it came to America in 1965 and quickly became a favorite for creative minds. The set had colored pens, toothed gears, and clear plastic rings. Lock one piece into another, put the pen in a hole, and turn, slowly, carefully, and boom! Art. It wasn't messy like finger paints. It wasn't freeform like crayons. It was precise, predictable, and yet every design felt surprising. Kids would fill notebooks with swirling patterns, then hang them on the fridge like masterpieces. Teachers even used Spirograph to show how geometry could be beautiful. It faded a bit in the 70s as flashier toys arrived. But for a moment, it proved that wonder could come from rules, and that circles could dance. Lego bricks. Simple blocks, big ideas. You've seen them. You've stepped on them barefoot. But in the 1960s, Lego bricks were still fresh, colorful, and full of promise. Originally from Denmark, these little interlocking blocks landed in American homes and exploded in popularity. Unlike other building toys, Lego snapped together tightly and stayed put. Towers wouldn't tumble. Bridges could hold marbles. By the mid-60s, Lego introduced windows, doors, wheels, and even people, though they didn't have smiles yet. That came later. Back then, everyone looked serious. But the buildings? Full of life. Families would spread the bricks across the floor and build for hours. A castle one day, a spaceship the next. There were no instructions, no apps, just your brain and a bucket of bricks. Lego never really disappeared. Far from it. But in the 60s, it was pure possibility. No franchises, no movies, just you, your hands, and the belief that anything could be built. Lite-Brite, glow-in-the-room magic. Plug it in. Pop in a black paper sheet. Now grab those colored pegs, red, blue, yellow, green, and start pressing them into the holes. Flip the switch, and wow. Lite-Brite was like having your own neon sign. In a darkened room, it glowed like a carnival ride. You could follow templates to make butterflies or rockets, or make up your own designs. Introduced in 1967, it was perfect for rainy days or bedtime creativity. Moms loved that it was quiet. Kids loved that it looked cool. Each peg lit up like a tiny star. Some kids used it to write secret messages. Others made pictures to give as gifts. One boy even spelled out, "I love Lucy," just to make his grandma smile. As electric toys evolved, Lite-Brite took breaks from stores, but kept coming back. like an old friend visiting for the holidays. Because who doesn't miss the glow of childhood? Rock, M Sock, M Robots. Battle of the Century. 2 plastic boxers, red and blue, 1 clear dome head, 1 spring-loaded fist. Press a lever, pop, and the head flies up like a knockout punch. Rock, M Sock, M Robots hit the scene in 1964 and turned living rooms into boxing arenas. You'd sit across from a friend or sibling, crank the levers, and try to land that glorious punch. The goal? Knock the other robot's head into the sky. The sound? Bloop. Pure joy. It was simple, loud, and totally addictive. Matches lasted minutes, but the bragging rights lasted weeks. I beat Tommy in 3 rounds. It didn't vanish. It's still around today, but the original 60s version had a charm modern versions can't copy. Maybe it was the bright colors. Maybe it was the fact that victory sounded like a kazoo. Whatever it was, one thing certain. In the ring of imagination, these robots were champions. Silly Putty, bouncing, stretching, copying newsprint, found in Easter baskets, sold in plastic eggs. Looks like rubber, acts like magic. That's Silly Putty. Invented during World War II by accident, it became a toy sensation in the 1960s. Stretch it, bounce it, press it onto a comic strip, and watch it lift the ink right off the page. Kids use it to copy Superman, sneak jokes into class, or just pull it apart slowly, mesmerized. Drop it, and it bounced like a ball. Leave it on the carpet too long, it picked up lint like a magnet. It wasn't supposed to be a toy. Scientists were trying to make rubber, but sometimes the best inventions come from happy accidents. Silly Putty didn't disappear. It's still sold today. But in the 60s, it represented something rare. A toy with no rules. No goal. No winner. Just weird, wonderful play. And honestly, we could all use a little more of that. The 1960s gave us moon landings, peace signs, and music that still echoes today. But for millions of kids, the real magic was simpler. A toy box full of wonder. These 10 toys didn't just entertain. They invited us to dream bigger, build bolder, and believe in worlds beyond the backyard. What toy from your childhood sparked your imagination? Was it one of these? Or something we didn't mention? Share your memories in the comments below. We love hearing your stories. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more journeys into the past, and hit that bell so you never miss a moment of nostalgic America. Until next time, keep remembering and keep believing in the power of play.